What's up, YouTube? We're back again. This time we're going to be doing an item explanation guide. We're going to be going over all the items in the game, what their function abilities are, what their passives do, and just explaining every item for those that are maybe new at the game or just want to learn a little bit more about the game. So you can open up your shop window over here on the left hand side. As you see, we have different categories. The recommended tab is going to be your pre-selected items that you're going to have for your champion. This way, while you're in the game, you're not searching around all the items trying to find what item you want to buy. Definitely very helpful and useful to have this already pre-selected. Then we're going to go to the physical menu. These are going to be attack damage items for your attack damage champions. You're going to have the magic section here, which is going to be ability damage items for your ability damaging champions. You're going to have the defensive category, which is going to be more for your tanks. But anyone can build defense if you want a little bit more health or magic resistance or defense. We have the support item here, which is going to be more for support champions and builds. And then we're going to have the boots section, which every champion should be building boots. So every champion in the game is going to start with 500 gold. You see on the left hand side. And with that gold, you can start with a handful of starting items. So the first item you can start with is a longsword. This will do plus 12 attack damage, 500 gold. The next item you can start with is a brawler's glove, which will do 10% critical rate. And then the next item you can start with is a dagger, which will give you plus 15% attack speed. Going to the magic area, you can start with a sapphire crystal. This will give you plus 100 mana and plus 5 ability haste. It will also give you the mana charge passive. Increase max mana by 5 every time mana is spent, capping at 250 bonus mana. This will trigger up to 3 times every second. This item will then build into the tier of the goddess, which is a pretty important item for some champions. This will give you plus 300 max mana, plus 10 ability haste, as well as giving you the passive awe. 10% of mana spent is refunded, as well as giving you a stronger mana charge passive going up to 700 bonus mana. Now this tier of goddess will build into 3 different items. We'll learn about them later. The Archangel's Staff, the Mana Mune, and then Winter's Approach. So we'll learn about these items later. They all build out of the starting item here, the Sapphire's Crystal. The next item you can buy with 500 gold starting item is a Ruby Crystal. This will give you plus 150 to maximum health. You can also get an Amplifying Tome, plus 25 ability power. Most magic users will start with this item. You could also start with a Ring of Revelation, which is plus 10 ability haste, only 400 gold. For defensive items, you can go with a Cloth Armor, plus 20 armor. You could also go with a Null Magic Mantle, which will give you plus 20 magic resistance. Or you could try out the Shimmer and Spark, which will give you plus 50 max health. Also give you the Immolate passive, which deals 5 to 10 magic damage per second to nearby enemies. You could also start with boots if you'd like. Plus 25 movement speed, 400 gold. Or if you're a support, you're going to start with one of these 3 items. Either Ancient Coin, Spectral Sickle, or Relic Shield. This will give you 125 maximum health. So you're going to build this item as a support player. So anytime you attack a minion, the gold will go over to the ADC. And this will give you passive gold, since as a support, you're not supposed to be taking minions or gold from the other champions. You're just supposed to be out there supporting your team. So this passive, the Relic Shield passive, will gain 1 encircling energy orb every 30 seconds. Attacking an enemy minion will consume the orb and execute minions below 65% health, granting full gold to your teammate and restoring your health by 65. Yeah, so this is good for like melee tank type champions. Then we have this version here, the Spectral Sickle. You'll gain 10 attack damage or 20 ability power. Based on which one you're going with. This time you're going to gain stacks for every time you attack an enemy champion or a tower. So every time you hit an enemy champion, you'll gain 65 gold. And then you also restore your health by 20 to 80. I didn't even know that. I didn't know you got your health restored by 20 to 80. So that's good to know. See, even I learned something from this video. And then we have the ancient coin. 80 max health, 5 haste. You're gonna gain 65 gold every time you're next to a dying minion. So you don't have to execute the minion. You don't have to hit nobody. You're just automatically gonna get the free gold when you're next to a dying champion. Now all these items, they're gonna scale up, and once you hit 700 gold, passive gold, it's gonna evolve into the next form. So this one will evolve into the Bulwark of the Mountain, giving you 175 max health and 10 haste. And then every 1 minute, you're gonna gain 75 gold, 25 health, and some additional attack damage or ability power, which will cap at 40 or 20. Same with the sickle. This will upgrade to the Blackness Scythe, giving you a little bit more ability power. And then every 1 minute, you'll gain the same amount of gold, as well as getting 25 health and up to maximum 40 ability power. This will then transform into Talisman of Ascension once you get the 700 gold. Same thing, you're gonna get 25 health every minute, 75 gold every minute, and then maxing out at 40 ability power or 20 attack damage. So we have basic boots here, which we're gonna buy now for 400 gold. This is gonna give you plus 25 movement speed, which is very helpful in the game. Being quick and being able to maneuver around the map is very important. So it's usually recommended to buy your boots either first or very early in your build. And then boots have several different upgrade options you can go with. So you can go with the Gluttonous Greaves, which is going to add plus 35 attack damage to your boots, an additional 20 movement speed to your boots, as well as plus 7% Omnivamp. What Omnivamp does, it's basically lifesteal. But it's for all damage types. Either true damage, attack damage, or magic damage. If you have something that says lifesteal, it will only work on attack damage. Either your basic attacks or attack damage spells. It will not work for magic damage or anything of that nature. Then we're going to move on to the Berserker Greaves. These will add plus 20 attack damage to your boots, plus 35% attack speed, as well as an additional 20 movement speed. Next, we're going to go to the Mercury Treads. This will add plus 200 maximum health, 100% health regen, plus 35 magic resistance, as well as 20 movement speed. And then you see the passive on the bottom, Dissolve, reduces magic damage taken by 7% to 12%. So the range is by level. So the higher level you are, the higher percentage of magic damage you'll take less of. Very great item to build if you are against a lot of magic damage users. The next item we have is the Plated Steel Caps. This will add plus 150 to your maximum health, plus 100% health regen, 35 armor, an additional 20 movement speed, and a similar passive called Block reduces physical damage taken by 7% to 10%. The next pair of boots we have are the Ionian's Boots of Lucidity. They will add plus 150 max health, plus 150% mana regeneration, plus 30 ability haste, which is basically cooldown reduction, which will help your spells come off cooldown faster. You get the extra movement speed, and then you will get the passive Summoned, which will reduce spell cooldowns by 15%. Next pair of boots, Boots of Mana, 55 ability power, 150% mana regeneration, 45 movement speed. You get the 8 flat magic penetration. You also get the passive Big Bully, which will deal 18 bonus physical damage to minions, helping you last hit a little bit better. The last boots we have are Boots of Dynamism. This will add 30 attack damage, the additional movement speed, as well as giving you 10 armor penetration. So we're gonna pick a pair of boots to upgrade, which will buy these gluttonous greaves. And then once you have your boots purchased, your second tier boots, you now have the ability to enhance them. As you see down here, we have a group of enhancement items. So we'll start with one of the most popular and most expensive enhancements you can get, which will be the Zonia's or the Stasis. So this will add a Zonia's effect to you. As you see at the bottom, the Stasis active. Become invulnerable and untargetable for 2.5 seconds, but unable to move, attack, or cast abilities. So if you want to see how this item works, if you're in a battle and people are attacking you, you click this item, it puts you in stasis, and you will not be able to be attacked, targeted, damaged, or die while you're in stasis. So the next enhancement we're going to check out is going to be the Locket. So if you read the Locket active on the bottom, it says grants a shield to yourself and all nearby allied champions that absorb 60 to 330 damage for 2.5 seconds. Again, whenever you see a range like this, usually in Wild Rift, it's by level. So the higher level you are, the higher amount of damage you will be able to absorb. This effect is reduced by 50% if the target has been affected by another Locket in 20 seconds. Basically saying that if you stack Lockets, it's not going to work as well. So you see, you get a little shield heal here. If I had other allied champions next to me, they would also get this shield as well. The next enhancement we're going to go for is going to be the Glory enhancement. The Glory active, gain 15% movement speed for 4 seconds, increasing up to 75% towards enemy champions or turrets. After 4 seconds or reaching the enemy champion, emits a shockwave that slows enemy champions by 50% for 2 seconds. So if we were moving towards the enemy champion, it would make us move even faster. And then we're going to do a little explosion thing here, which will slow the champions around us. So definitely nice enhancement for engaged type of champions. The next item we're going to go with is the Hextech Proto Belt. So dashes forward and unleashes a cone of missiles that deals 70 damage. So if you use this item, you'll do something like this. So it helps you dash. You cannot use this item to go over walls. If you try to go over a wall, you're going to get blocked. So you cannot go through terrain. You can dash. It's good to use. Try to escape an enemy ability. It can help you dodge attack. It can help you clear wave clear minions, and also do damage to champions. The next item we're going to go over is the Quicksilver enchantment. This is a very big enchantment. It's basically removes all crowd control effects and grants you immunity to all control effects for 3/4 of a second. And then as you see, reduces the duration of all control effects affecting you by 25%. After Quicksilver effect ends, grants 30% tenacity and 30% slow resist for 1.5 seconds. So whenever you see something that says passive and active, active is when you actually select and click the item, and passive goes on the entire time. So the passive here, Perseverance, reduces the duration of all crowd control effects affecting you, except for knockups. So this is great. This is like having built-in tenacity in your boots. What tenacity does, it basically gives you slow resistance, stun resistance, just lowers the amount of time that you're crowd controlled for. So you click the button here, you become unstoppable. If you are stunned or sleeping or something like that, it will remove the effect. It's also great to use against certain champions and their ultimates. It can get you out of their ultimates, such as, say, like Set or Yasuo. The next item we're going to go for is the Gargoyle Stone Plate. So this will give you a shield that absorbs damage equal to 28% of your health. The shield will decay over 4 seconds. And the more enemy champions that are around you, the bigger amount of shield you will receive. Click the item, see the big shield. The more health I will have, the bigger the shield will be. This is very good item for tank champions, or maybe someone that just wants a little bit more sustainability to prevent against burst damage and getting one shot. The next item we're going to go over is the teleport item. As you see, active channeling for 3.5 seconds will teleport you to a champion, a structure, or a ward on the map. So you click the button here. If you have an allied champion somewhere on the map, you can teleport to them, or a ward or a minion, or a tower. I'm sorry, you cannot teleport to minions. So we're going to try here, teleport to this tower. There you go. Teleport back to base. This is very good for split pushing, trying to get into the middle of a fight.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Very undervalued. Next, we're going to go with the repulsor. The active is a knockback. Knocks back nearby enemies after knocking back a champion. Gain 30% movement speed for 3 seconds. So this is the active ability. If someone is near you trying to jump on you, you just push this. You see that wave going around me. If there was an enemy champion nearby, it would just knock them around. So pretend this dummy is a champion and use this item, it will knock them away just like this. The next enhancement we're going to go for is the Magnetron enhancement. This will select a minion, monster, or allied champion and rapidly dash behind them before gaining 30% movement speed. This is not an item that's used very often. It can be helpful in certain situations. It just gives you a dash. And use it like this. The next enhancement we're going to go over is the Gluttonous Veil. This will grant a spell shield to nearby allies for 3 seconds, blocking the next hostile ability. So I don't have an allied champion to show you how this would work, but you see the range here. You have to be pretty close to a champion to use it. But basically, if you want to shield someone so they can't get stunned or go to sleep, you would use this on them. Then you get the next item, the Meteor. So the meteor is going to light up an area and summons a meteor after 2.5 seconds, dealing 25% of each enemy's max health as magic damage. It's a lot of damage to do. So as you see this works, you see the range on this item. It can work pretty far. You drop it on someone like that, and if it lands, it's going to do pretty much 1/4 of their health in magic damage. Next item we have here is the Gluttonous Hydra. It'll deal adaptive damage equal to 140% of your attack damage plus 30% of your magic damage to nearby enemies and restore health by 60% of the damage dealt. Deals 50% to damage to monsters and 50% damage to minions. So this is a great item. It can work as an auto attack reset. So basically you attack, you hit that button, and then it'll make you attack again. The next item we're going to go for is the GLP 800. It'll fire a spray of icy bolts that explode on first enemy hit, dealing magic damage equal to 40 to 75 damage plus 20% of your ability power. Enemies that are hit are slowed by 90%, decaying over 2 seconds. Very strong item in the game. As you see, it sends out a thing of icy bolts. It'll slow whoever it hits. Very good for doing a little bit extra damage and catching up to champions trying to run away, or if you want to engage something. Very powerful upgrade for sure. And the final upgrade we're going to go over is the Dream Maker. Gain a blue dream bubble and a purple dream bubble every 8 seconds. Granting an ally active heal or shield, blows both dream bubbles to them, empowering them for 3 seconds. The blue dream bubble reduces their next incoming damage by 70 to 140. And the purple dream bubble grants their next hit bonus outgoing damage 20 to 90. So this is a great item for support type champions, especially if you're like a Yumi or something like that. And anytime you heal or shield someone, you're gonna be buffing them up. So it's not an active item, but it is a passive item, and it is very good, especially for the enchanter type. Next, we're going to go over the physical damage items. Lots of physical damage items we can go through. We're going to speed through these ones a little bit quicker. You have Gnasher's Tooth. This is going to be either an ability item or an attack damage item, depending on what your build is. It'll give you 45% attack speed, 20 ability haste, and then depending if you have mostly attack damage or ability power, it'll give you either 30 attack damage or 60 ability power, depending which you have most of. Then you have a passive called Gnaw. When basic attacks hit enemy champions, it will cause an additional 15 magic damage, plus 25% bonus attack damage and magic damage. So if you have 100 attack damage, it'll take 25% of that, which will be 25. Add that to the 15, so you'll really be doing 40 on hit damage with the Gnaw. The next item we're gonna have here is the Guardian Angel. It'll give you 40 attack damage as well as 40 armor, and has a passive called Resurrect. Upon taking lethal damage, which means dying, you will restore 50% base health and 30% maximum mana after 4 seconds of stasis. So basically you're gonna die and revive. You come back. This item has a long cooldown, 210 seconds. Very expensive item, but it's also very good, especially a late game item. If you do die, you will come back. So it's good if you want to get as an ADC and you're getting attacked and jumped on. It'd be good for someone like Rengar or like Kha'Zix or someone that's got to jump into their team and potentially might have to die or something to get a kill. So definitely a very overpowered item, but it's very expensive and the base stats aren't that great, but good item for sure. The next item we're going to go over is the Bloodthirster. It'll give you 50 attack damage plus 25% critical rate. It'll also give you 10% physical vamp, which is lifesteal. So anytime you do physical damage, you will receive 10% of that damage back towards your health bar. You also have a additional passive ability called Bloodsworn. It'll give you 11 to 25 attack damage on top of the attack damage you already have, plus 10% attack speed as long as your health is above 50%. The next item we're going to go for is the Blade of the Ruined King. This will give you 25 attack damage, plus 35% attack speed, plus 10% physical damage. Plus 10% physical vamp, which is lifesteal. And then you have the passive Rune Strikes. Attacks deal bonus physical damage equal to 6% of the enemy's current health on hit. Melees will do an additional 3%, so 9% damage. And then you have Drain, which is hitting a champion with 3 attacks or abilities, deal 30 to 100 magic damage, and steals 25% of their movement speed. So this item is great against tanky type champions that have a lot of health. Current health on hit damage, so whatever their current health is at, you're going to be doing a percentage of that. Or the more health they have, the more damage you will do. The next item we have here is the Runin's Hurricane. It'll grant you 35% attack speed. Then it has the passive Wind Fury. Attack strike 2 additional nearby enemies, dealing 55% damage to them. These strikes can critically strike and trigger on-hit effects. Again, just like Gnasher's Tooth, whether you have more ability power or attack damage will determine whether you get bonus attack damage or ability power on this item. Additionally, you will also deal 15 bonus physical damage on hit against targets. So a very strong item for sure for certain champions. The next item we're going to look at is the Youmuu's Ghostblade. It'll give you 55 attack damage plus 15% ability haste. You're going to get plus 15 armor penetration, which armor penetration goes through the enemy team's armor. So say they have 50 armor. If you have 15 armor armor penetration, well then it's like you're attacking someone that has 35 armor. You're going to get a passive with that called Momentum. Moving builds momentum, granting up to 40 movement speed at 100 stacks. Attacking a champion or a minion will remove the stacks and give you an additional 25% attack speed for 4 seconds. Let me show you how that works. You see the bottom here. The number, the 70 is moving. Now we're up to 100. And now I'm able to move a lot faster than I would normally be able to move. And when I attack, I'm going to get a 25% attack speed bonus. The next item we're going to go over is the Dust Blade of Drakthar. This will give you 55 attack damage, 10 ability haste, plus 18 armor penetration, and has a passive called Night Stalker. The first attack against a champion deals 60 to 160 bonus physical damage and slows them by 99%. Very great passive. Very good for, slowing enemy champions, stuff of that nature. Next, we're going to go for the Sterix Gauge. Give you 400 max health. A passive called Heavy Handed, which means 50% of your base attack damage is added as bonus attack damage. What base attack damage means is that's the attack damage you start off with. As you gain levels, your base attack damage will go up, but that is not included in your items that you buy. So say you buy this item here, you get plus 55 attack damage. It does not go towards your base attack damage. So back to the Sterix Gauge. So the Lifeline passive, damage that puts you under 35% health, grants you a shield equal to 75% bonus health that decays over 5 seconds. Triggering Lifeline increases size and grants 30% tenacity. As we talked about earlier, tenacity is basically your ability to resist against crowd control effects. You see this has a Lifeline, which is a unique passive. So you cannot have the same items that have the same passive. So you have to look for the names, right? So this says Lifeline. So you cannot build this item with the Mantle of the 12th Hour because they both have the same passive, Lifeline. So you cannot stack items with the same passives. Next item we're going to go over is the Infinity Edge. This gives you plus 60 attack damage, plus 25% critical rate. And as a passive, critical strikes will increase damage to 205% damage instead of 175% damage. This is a very important item on a lot of attack damage champions. Does a lot of damage, critical strike damage. Very good to have. We got the Mortal Reminder next. Adds plus 30 attack damage, 25% critical rate, and has a passive called Last Whisper, which will increase armor penetration by 33%. Also dealing physical damage. Enemy champions will apply Grievous Wounds. What Grievous Wounds does is it lowers the ability of the enemy champions to receive healing, whether it's from healing from another champion, healing from their items, healing from their runes. It'll do 50% less healing, which is very big because there's a lot of people that can do a lot of healing in this game. So this item might be important to buy in most of your games. This item here, the Executioner's Calling. This will also give you Grievous Wounds. Once again, it has a unique passive called Last Whisper. So you cannot build that item with this item and then get the additional armor penetration. You just cannot do that. Next item we have here is the Manumune. This will give you plus 25 attack damage, plus 300 max mana, as well as 20 ability haste. It has a passive called Awe, which grants attack damage equal to 1.5% of your maximum mana and will refund 15% of all mana spent. Now also has a passive called Mana Charge. Increases max mana by 15 every attack or when mana is spent. It caps at 700 bonus mana, and once you get to 700 mana, this item will then upgrade into a new item, which is called Mirror Mana. So this item will have plus 25 attack damage, plus 1000 max mana, 20 ability haste. And then when an attack hits an enemy champion, it drains 2.5% of your current mana and transforms that into physical damage. When dealing ability damage to enemy champions, drains 4% of current mana and deals additional physical damage, which is 6%. The effect only triggers when remaining mana is above 20%. A single attack or ability will only trigger the effect once on the same champion. So you see we'll buy this item here. It's built from the tier. So these are like the final upgraded items. There are cheaper items you buy. You build these items and then you upgrade them into these more important items here. So you see the tier has the same passive as this. So we bought this item, the mirror mana. And as you see here, look on the bottom screen, the little 15 that I have there. Every time I use an ability, that's going to get stacked up.
Blast them, Gauntlet.
Then once I get to 700, there's a cooldown. Once I get to 700, there will be an upgrade to this item. So it'll automatically upgrade. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to the shop. It'll just automatically upgrade. So the next item we have here is Trinity Force. Plus 250 max health, plus 30 attack damage, plus 30 attack speed, plus 25 ability haste. Gives you 5% movement speed. And then has an active ability called Spellblade. So using ability causes the next attack used within 10 seconds to deal bonus magic damage. Physical damage equal to 200 base attack damage. So this item here, use ability, you see next to on the bottom here, it's like it shows up on the screen. So as long as that item's up, you have time to do your bonus damage. See, I'm doing 171, 170. If I do this, that activates, boom, 312. 316. Now a champion like Ezreal, whose first ability is on hit damage, this will automatically apply the Triforce item as a basic attack. So you don't have to use a spell first and then attack with it as long as you hit with this ability here. The next item we're going to go for is the Maw of Mortius. Adds plus 55 attack damage, plus 45 magic resist, plus 10 ability haste. And then it has a passive called Demon Bane. 20% of the damage that you attack deals, or 50% of physical damage that your abilities deal, is converted into a magic shield that could absorb up to 400 magic damage. As you see, I'm attacking here. I get a little shield around me. I get a little purple in my health bar. That's just a magic shield that I'm building up. So if I take magic damage, it will block it with that shield.
Now I'm here.
Very good item to buy against heavy AP damage teams. Next item we're going to look at is a Magnetic Blaster. This will add plus 25% critical rate, plus 35% attack speed, give you 5% movement speed. Then it has a passive called Energize. Moving and attacking will generate an energized attack. So energized attacks generate 25% faster, gain 125 range, and deal 50 to 120 magic damage. So it's going to add range to your auto attack, as well as giving you a chain lightning attack. So you see here, see that big circle that's around me? Now that's my increased range that it built up after moving around. I'm going to attack, and now that big circle went away, right? Until you see my movement go back to 100. Boom, I'm back to 100 now. And now I got the increased range. And when I attack, it's going to do a lightning shock to the champion and those around it. Next item we have is Death Dance. It'll give you 35 attack damage, plus 40 armor, plus 15 ability haste. Has a passive called Cauterize, which means 32% of the physical damage you receive is dealt to you over 3 seconds instead of immediately. So basically it's going to add a damage over time dot to you instead of just getting hit immediately. So it's going to help prevent a lot of burst damage to you. And then you have another passive called Dance. If you have a takedown, it'll cleanse the remaining damage pool and restore 10% of your maximum health. So you'll have this dot over you for 3 seconds, but if you get a kill, the dot gets wiped out. So definitely a great item to have. Next item we have is Phantom Dancer. 25 attack damage, 25 critical, 30% attack speed, give you 5% movement speed, as well as a passive Spectral Waltz, which will gain 7% bonus movement speed when you attack for 3 seconds. After attacking 4 times, you're going to gain an additional 25% attack speed. Next item we have here is Wit's End. It'll grant you 45 attack speed, 45 magic resistance. It'll also add 15 to 65 bonus magic damage to your attacks. And if you're below 50% health, damaging enemy champion will heal you for 100% of the magic damage you do with this item if you're melee, but only 33% if you are ranged. Next item we have is Essence Reaver. 40 attack damage, 25 critical rate, 20 ability haste. After attacking a champion, enhances your next damaging ability or empowered attack by up to 30% based on your critical strike with a 4-second cooldown. Cooldown is also reduced by 1 second after hitting a champion with an attack. Attacks restore 3% missing mana on hit. So this is good if you have a champion that could use a little bit of extra mana. Doing attacks is going to restore your mana. And you really need to build this item with other critical strike items, because the higher critical rate you have, the more bonus damage you'll do with this item. The next item we have is the Cerelia's Grudge. This will give you 40 attack damage, 15 ability haste, as well as the Last Whisper passive, 33 armor penetration. And then you have the Icy passive, damaging active abilities and empower attacks will slow enemies for 1 second. So that's great to have. Use an active ability on a champion. You see they all turn blue. That means they're slowed. So it works on your abilities, not your auto attacks. So you have to hit them with an ability. The next item we're going to go over is the Solaria Charge Blade. Give you 25% critical rate, 40% attack speed, 20 ability haste. Using the ability gathers radiance up to 3 charges for up to 10 seconds. Attacks that hit expanded charge to deal 50 to 92 bonus magic damage on hit. And these bonuses can critically strike. So with this item, the more usability, you're going to get stacks. You see the bottom, I'm at 3 stacks of this item. So it means my next 3 attacks are going to do bonus magic damage. 46, 46, and 81. That one crit. The next item we're going to build is the Navari Quicksblade. You get 45 attack damage, 25 critical rate, 15 ability haste, and the passive critical attacks reduce your non-ultimate ability cooldowns by 20%, which is pretty big. So if you critical strike, your non-ultimate abilities will go down in cooldown. This has a 9 cooldown, critical strike. See how it's jumping down? Very strong item in the right hands. The next item we're going to go over is the Edge of Night. So it gave you plus 250 max health, plus 50 attack damage, plus 8 armor penetration, and a passive Annuel, which will grant a spell shield that blocks the next ability hostile ability. So you see I have a big shield around me. If I get hit with ability, it'll just block the ability and I'll be good. Next item is Divine Sunderer. This will give you 425 max health, 25 attack damage, 25 haste, then an active ability Spellblade, which is very similar to the Triforce Spellblade, but it'll give you a little bit different outcome. So Spellblade will, after using the ability, your next attack will deal 10% of the target's maximum health as bonus physical damage. 7% if the attack is ranged. If the target is a champion, it will heal for 6% of the target's maximum health. 2.5% if the attack is a range attack. Since I'm using a ranged champion, I'll be doing the lesser damage. Next item is Serpent's Fang. Give you 50 attack damage, 10 ability haste, plus 15 armor penetration. Passive ability, Shield Reaver, dealing of damage to an enemy champion reduces any shields they gain for 3 seconds. Melee champions apply 10% of bonus attack damage, plus 40% shield reduction, capped at 60%, while ranged champions do less. So basically, the more attack damage you have, the more of the bigger shield you will break and reduce. Very important item, since there's a lot of champions that do shielding in this game. Next item, Immortal Shield Bow, 40 attack damage, 25 crit rate, 15 attack speed, 5 physical vamp. Lifeline active ability, Lifeline passive. Damage that puts you under 35% health will grant you a shield that absorbs 250 to 550 damage. Triggering Lifeline grants 8% physical vamp for 8 seconds. Again, this is similar to the Asterix Gauge Lifeline, just different passive, but since they're the same name, you cannot use their passives together. You can build both items, it'll just be a big waste. The next item is the Collector. So give you 40 attack damage, 25% critical rate, 10 armor penetration. Then you have the passive Death and Taxes, dealing damage that would leave an enemy below 5% of their maximum health, executes them, which means they will automatically die. And you'll be granted an additional 25 gold. This is actually a pretty strong item, especially to build early on a lot of attack damage champions. You got the Kempunk Chainsword, which will give you 250 max health, 45 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and then the Punishment ability, which is going to give you Grievous Wounds when you apply a physical damage to a champion. If you don't remember what Grievous Wounds is, it basically lowers enemies' healing ability. Next item, Spear of Sojin. Give you 300 max health, 50 attack damage, 25 ability haste, 5% movement speed. The passive Dragon Awakening increases ability haste of basic abilities by 25% for 10 seconds after casting your ultimate ability. It'll also grant you 25% movement speed. Scoring a takedown within 10 seconds extends the ability duration by 4 seconds. So a very strong item if you have someone that uses an ultimate and then afterwards has to spam abilities. You got Terminus next, which will give you 35 attack damage, 30% attack speed, as well as 35 bonus magic damage on hit. So every time you hit someone with an auto attack, 35 bonus magic damage. Then you have Juxtaposition, alternate between light and dark on hits when attacking. Light attacks grant 5 to 8 armor and magic resistance. Dark attacks grant 11% armor pen and magic penetration. Each hit will stack up to 3 times. While you have this item, bonus armor pen and magic pen granted is capped at 40%. So a really good item as well. Next, we're going to show you the Eclipse. Eclipse gives you 60 attack damage, 20 ability haste. Hitting an enemy champion with 2 separate attacks or abilities within 1.8 seconds deals bonus physical damage equal to 6% of the target's maximum health. Lowered for ranged champions, and grants you a shield that absorbs damage equal to 140 plus 35% bonus attack damage. So a very nice item as well. Got Sundered Sky, which will give you 300 max health, 40 attack damage, 15 ability haste. A passive called Light Shield Strike. The first attack against the enemy champion critically strikes them for 160% damage and restoring health equal to 125% of base damage and 5% of your missing health, which is great. Now this item will not work with the Infinity Edge earlier, which you saw, which will increase your critical strike to 205%. So if you build these two items together, the damage will not get changed to 205. It'll stay at 160. Item Storm Razor, 40 attack damage, 25% critical rate, 20 attack speed. The passive called Energize, moving and attacking generates energized attacks. At 100 build-up, you'll do 60 to 135 bonus magic damage, as well as slowing the target by 50%. You build it up to 100 stacks,
And then once at 100, they'll do some lightning damage just to a champion. Next item we have to show you is called the Black Cleaver. This will give you 400 maximum health, 40 attack damage, 20 ability haste. Passive called Sunder, dealing physical damage to a champion, reduces their armor by 6% for 6 seconds, stacking up to 4 times for a maximum of 24% armor reduction. You'll also gain 20 movement speed when you deal physical damage, and 40 movement speed when moving towards enemy champions who have 4 sundered stacks. Then we got Titanic Hydra, which will be plus 450 to maximum health. You get the Colossus passive. You gain attack damage equal to 15 plus 2.5% of your bonus health. You have another passive called Cleave. Every 1 3/4 seconds, your next attack deals bonus physical damage equal to 25 plus 3% bonus health. This also applies to turrets, creating a shockwave that deals physical damage equal to 80 plus 10% health to enemies behind the target. So there's enemies behind the target you're using this item on, they're going to take even more damage. So definitely a very strong item to have as well, especially if you're stacking health. So these are all the smaller items that build into those. You got, a dagger, 15 attack speed, brawler's glove, 10 critical rate, longsword, 12 damage. Those get built into these items. See, this will build out of the longsword and the ruby crystal. So you buy the longsword, you don't have to sell it or anything else. You buy that as a component, and when you're ready to build this item, that builds into that. And then when you're ready to build a stronger item that builds out of this item, see, this one is now 1800 instead of 2500 instead of 3000, because I already built components towards that item. So then now I can build this item. This item works. As you see, the person behind him is also getting damaged. So then, as you see, my mirror mana is fully stacked up. So we have this item now. Since I've been using my abilities, we have the fully stacked mirror mana. So next, we're going to move on to the magic items. We'll start with this item here. This is a Magi's Soul Stealer. This will give you 70 maximum health, 25 ability power, 7% maximum penetration. In this item, you gain stacks for every kill and assist that you're a part of. Gain up to 30 stacks of glory after a champion takedown. Melee champion gain 3 stacks for each kill and 2 stacks for each assists. Range champions gain 4 stacks for each kill and 2 stacks for each assist. You lose 10 stacks on death. So every time you die, you're going to lose 10 of your stacks. Each stack, you're going to gain 5 ability power, and at 10 stacks of glory, gain an additional 10% movement speed. So at 30 stacks, you can have essentially 175 ability power with this item. Extremely broken. The only problem is if you do die with it, you're going to lose a lot of your power. And if it's not stacked up at all, it's going to be a very weak item at only 25 ability power. So next item we'll go over is Luden's Echo. 85 ability power, 7% magic penetration, 300 max mana, 20 ability haste. Get the passive Discorded Echo. Moving and casting abilities build Discord. At 100 Discord, your next damage ability or tower empowered attack deals 100 bonus magic damage plus 10% of your overall ability damage. I just showed you earlier. This is just the magic damage version of it. You have to hit him with a spell, and then he'll do splash damage to everyone around, just like you saw. So we'll build it up. 100. It's at 100. Boom. The next item we're going to go over is Morellonomicon. Give you 150 max health, 75 ability power, 7% magic penetration, 20 ability haste, and it will add grievous wounds to your ability damage. You have to do magic damage in order to apply grievous wounds. So again, grievous wounds lowers the enemy team's ability to heal. This Oblivion Orb, this will build into Morellonomicon. So if you want a cheaper item that will do grievous wounds, you can just build this item. and you can just sit on this item if you don't want to fully complete the Merlonomicon. So if you're against a team with a lot of healing, you can just build this item first, and then you will have the anti-heal. Rabadon's Death Cap will give you 100 ability power, 7% magic penetration, and the passive Overkill, which will increase your ability power by 20 to 45% based on level. Huge item. Definitely something you want to build third or fourth item on most magic damage champions. The next item we have is the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. This will give you 300 max health, 65 ability power, plus 7% magic penetration, as well as the passive Icy. Damage active abilities and then power attacks will slow the enemy champions by 30% for 1 second. Very strong item in the right hands. We got Leandre's Torment next. 250 max health, 75 ability power, 7% magic pen. Then the passive Torment, damaging abilities or empowered attacks deal 0.4% of the enemy's max health as bonus magic damage each second over 3 seconds. So basically it does 1.2% of the champion's maximum health, which isn't a lot, but if you're stacking that up and you have champions that do dots, it'll definitely add up a lot. So you got a champion like Teemo or Brand or something like that that do damage over time with their abilities. That 1.2% max health really ends up being like 4% max health because it's gonna continuously reproc itself until the dot is over. So strong item on some champions. It's weak on others. Next item is Rod of Ages. This is a stacking type item also, so you'll get 250 max health, 60 ability power, 7% magic pen, 300 max mana. Then you get the passive Eternity, which restores mana equal to 15% of damage taken, and regen health equal to 20% of mana spent. Capped at 25 health per cast. So when you use mana, you're going to gain health, and when you lose health, you're going to gain mana. Then you also have the big passive of this item called Veteran. So each stack provides 25 health, 10 mana, 6 ability power, stacking at a rate of 1 every 35 seconds at a max of 10 stacks. So every 35 seconds, you're going to get 25 health, 10 mana, and 6 ability power, which will cap out at 250 health, 100 mana, and 60 ability power. So after you get the maximum 10 stacks, this item will then be 500 max health, 120 ability power, 7 magic penetration, and 400 maximum mana. Great item to buy early on, and it's more of a scaling item. It's weak at first, but then it will become very strong. The next item we have is Lichbane. 80 ability power, 7% magic pen, 10 haste, 5% movement speed, and that same Spellblade passive that will increase damage, such as the Triforce we saw earlier. This one's going to scale off of your ability power and do magic damage. Lichbane proc, boom. Next item we'll go over is the Archangel Staff, which is very similar to the Mirror Mana we had built earlier. So give you 35 ability power, magic pen, max mana, 20 ability haste, and then when you get to maximum stacks, which is 700, increases to 35 ability power, 1200 max mana, and then damage that puts you under 35% health will consume 15% of your maximum mana or your current mana and grants you a shield equal to that plus 100. You'll also grant ability power equal to 3% of the max mana that you have. So very solid item for certain niche champions. We went over this item already, Gnasher's Tooth. This is also an ability item, so if it works for you, it works for you as ability champion. So we'll go for the Infinity Orb next. This will give you plus 85 ability power, 7% maximum pen, 5% movement speed, as well as 15 flat magic penetration, It also has the passive ability, Inevitable Demise. Abilities and empowered attacks, critical strike for 20% bonus damage against enemies below 35% health. So this is a huge item, as well as massive damage. Definitely core on a lot of ability champions. Next item we'll go over is Crystalline Reflector. 200 max health, 40 armor, 70 ability power, 7 magic penetration, Mirrored Force. Each ability cast grants a mirror shard that lasts 3 seconds. The shard will block 8 to 25 incoming physical damage from enemy champions and deal magic damage equal to 10 plus 3% and 1% bonus health to them. So solid item to get if you're AP champion against a lot of AD champions. Got Crown of the Shatter Queen, 60 ability power, 7% max magic penetration, 200 max mana, 20 ability haste, grants a spell shield that blocks the next hostile ability. After the shield breaks, incoming damage is reduced by 40%, which is huge. That used to be 20%, but they must have buffed it. So after your shield pops, so you see you have a shield here, someone uses the ability on us, it'll break, and then for the next second, you get 40% reduced damage, which is huge. Your ability power will increase by 20 while safeguarded. So while you have the shield up, you'll have 80 ability power instead of 60. When the shield pops, you'll go back to 60 ability power. Every time you deal magic damage to enemy champions using active ability, reduces the cooldown by 4 seconds. So that 40-second cooldown will go down the more you hit magic abilities. Next item we're going over is the Cosmic Drive. 75 ability power, 70 magic penetration, 30 ability haste, 5 movement speed, spell weaving. Active abilities and empowered attacks grant 30 plus 70% ability haste as movement speed after dealing damage to enemy champions. This movement speed decays over 2 seconds. Each source has an individual 1-second cooldown for triggering spell weaving. Only haste from items contribute to spell weaving's movement speed. Next item, Rift Maker, 150 health, 80 ability power, 7 penetration, 15 ability haste, plus 11 Omnivamp. Remember we talked about Omnivamp earlier. It's basically lifesteal for all damages, true damage, magic damage, and physical damage. Get Void Corruption. When in combat with champions, gain 1 stack of corruption every 1 second. Each stack increases the damage you deal by 2.5% up to 3 stacks. So up to 7.5% increased damage you will get. And if you're at maximum stacks, the additional damage will become true damage. True damage will go through all armor and all resistances. So basically, you'll get 7.5% extra damage that cannot be blocked. Next, we got the Osinaj Trident. 200 max health, 80 ability power, 7 magic penetration, 10 ability haste, and dealing ability damage to an enemy champion reduces any shield they gain for 3 seconds. Area of effect abilities apply 5% of ability power plus 25 shield reduction, capped at 75%, while single target abilities apply 5% of ability power and 40% shield reduction, capping at 60%. When you damage an enemy who is unaffected by a lethal weapon, all shields on them are reduced by the same values. So this is great to build against enemy teams who are building shield items. Next, we have Horizon Focus, which will give you plus 80 ability power, 20 haste, 7 magic pen. Damage enemy champion with ability power from 600 units away, reveals them for 6 seconds, and increases damage dealt to them by 9%. When Hyper Shot is triggered, reveals all enemy champions within 1200 units of a target for 2 seconds. So this is a good item. It's gonna increase damage dealt when doing damage from long range, as well as revealing an area on the map. You see here, this area is, they're still in vision. That's what that item does. Next item, Psychic Projector. 300 max health, 60 ability power, 15 haste. Conversion, gain ability power equal to 3% of bonus health. So if you have a lot of bonus health, this item is great to pair with that, especially if you have the Rod of Ages from earlier. Great item to pair with that. Projection, when taking champion damage, gain a non-stacking shield that absorbs damage equal to 30 plus 10% ability power and 5% bonus health for 3 seconds. For ranged champions, the shield absorb damage equals to 60% of this value. So for ranged champions, this is a little bit less strong. Next item, one of my favorite items in the game, the Awakened Soul Stealer. Get 150 max health, 65 ability power, 20 haste, 7% magic pen, and then plus 15% flat magic penetration. Passive, Wandering Soul. Every time you take down an enemy champion within 3 seconds of damaging them, your ability cooldowns are reduced by 25%. You steal 10% of their base movement speed for 10 seconds and 50% of their ability haste until they respawn. Ability haste stolen this way stacks, so you can steal an insane amount of ability haste and just spam your abilities. It's a really good item. The additional ability haste does not get added to your ultimate, but every time you get a takedown, your ultimate and all your other abilities are reduced 25%. So very good item in the game, plus a lot of penetration from this item. I love this item. Next item, Malignance. 80 ability power, 7% magic penetration, 400 max mana, 20 ability haste. Scorn, your ultimate abilities gain 20 ability haste. So this basically adds 40 ability haste to your ultimate. Then you have Hate Fog. Damaging champion with your ultimate burns the ground beneath them for 3 seconds, dealing magic damage equal to 60 plus 5% of your ability power per second and reducing their magic resistance by 10. Burn radius increases with damage, reaching maximum radius at 800 damage. So the more damage your ultimate ability does, the bigger the circle is going to leave below them. And if you do this in a group of people and they're all clumped up, it's just going to do a whole lot of damage to all of them. Next item, Vandal Fantasy. This gives you 85 ability power, 7% magic penetration, 300 max mana, 20 ability haste. Passive, Flame Blossom. When damaging an enemy champion with an active ability, spawns a trap at their feet. After a brief delay, the trap deals magic damage equal to 105 plus 15% of your total ability power to enemies in it. 8 seconds cooldown per target if the target is hit by more than one trap set by the same champion. Within a short duration, traps after that will deal only 20% damage. So this is definitely a nice item to build with Malignance. They both kind of work together. So if you want to see how they work, you see those big circles. That's the Malignance proc there. And then you see the smaller circle here. That's from the Vandal trap. And they actually work together. We will have both of them. And then the final item for AP, Runan's Hurricane. We went over that already in the physical damage area. So next we'll move over to defensive items. First we'll learn about Redemption. Get 400 max health, 300 max mana, 20 ability haste. Eternity restores mana equal to 15% of the magic damage taken when consuming mana, blah, 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 blah. It's basically similar as the Rod of Ages passive. And you get Salvation every 8 seconds. Restore health, 40 plus 7% bonus health to all allied champions within 350 units. This effect does not trigger if there are no allied champions nearby. So if you're next to your champions, every 8 seconds, you and them, they're going to get healed. So pretty strong item for some champions. We went over Guardian Angel already in the attack damage area. Went over Steric's Gauge. We went over Death's Dance. Let's talk about Sunfire Aegis. Sunfire Aegis gives you 500 max health, plus 15 ability haste. You get the passive Immolate, while in combat deal magic damage equal to 16 plus 25 plus 0.8% of bonus health to nearby enemies per second. Damaging champions or epic monsters with Immolate increases damage to take by 11%, stacking up to 4 times. Flame Touch, at max Immolate stacks, attacks burn enemies around you for 50% of Immolate's damage over 3 seconds. Immolate deals 130% damage to monsters and minions. So a very strong tank item. Need to do a little bit extra damage. You see the little red thing around my character. And when I stand next to somebody, as you see, I'm standing next to these people, they're taking damage from me. See below the little blue numbers below them, that's the amount of damage they're taking. Next item we're gonna get is the Spirit's Visage. 350 max health, you get 100% health regeneration, plus 50 magic resistance, plus 20 ability haste, and it increases all healing and shielding effects on you by 30%. So if you're on a team with healers and shielders, or if you have abilities that heal or shield yourself, or if you have lots of lifesteal, this might be a good item for you to grab. Next item, Randuin's Omen, plus 400 maximum health, plus 75 armor. You get the passive ability, Counter Current. When you are critically struck by physical damage, gain 1 stack of Counter Current. Each stack of Counter Current grants 5% critical strike damage reduction. Stacks up to 4 times, so up to a 20% critical strike reduction. Upon reaching full stacks, grant 20% movement speed and slow resistance equal to 20% of 0.5 bonus health. So if you have against a team with a lot of critical strike damage, who build a lot of critical items, this is a solid item to buy to counter that. Next we have Thornmail, which gives you 200 max health, 75 armor. Then the passive Thorns, when struck by an enemy champion's attack, deal 20 plus 6% bonus armor plus 2% bonus health magic damage to the attacker and inflict grievous wounds. Remember, grievous wounds lowers all healing to those champions. So this item is going to do damage back to them based on how much bonus health and bonus armor you have. So every time they hit you with an auto attack, they're going to take damage back and be inflicted with grievous wounds. But such as the Executioner Calling and the Oblivion Orb, the Bramble Vest also acts as a cheaper item you can buy that will also give you grievous wounds on the defensive end. Next item here is Warmog's Armor. You get 700 max health, 200% health regen, 10 ability haste. The passive Warmog's Heart, if you have at least 950 bonus health, restores 4.5% maximum health per second if you haven't taken damage within the last 6 seconds. So this item is very strong. You do a big team fight, you're left with a few HP left, maybe you're only at 10% life left. You walk out the battle for 6 seconds, and then boom, in a few seconds later, you'll be at full health. Because gaining 4.5% max health per second, just do the math how much that's going to be. 100% health. Great item for sure. Next, we got Dead Man's Plate, plus 250 max health, plus 50 armor, plus 5% movement speed. Movement builds momentum, granted up to 40 movement speed at 100 stacks. Attacking will remove the momentum, and you'll do 100 bonus magic damage when you do that. So similar to earlier when we had the Yomu's Ghost Blade. Moving with this item. See how we have that red trail behind us? Now it's fully stacked. Hit somebody, boom, and they get hit with magic damage. Next, we have Iceborne Gauntlets, another Spellblade active item. This one will give you 250 max health, 50 armor, 250 max mana, 30 haste. Spell Blade, using ability, next attack within 10 seconds deals bonus physical damage equal your base attack damage plus 25% of your bonus armor in an area and creates an icy field for 2 seconds that slows by 30%. Then the more armor you have, the bigger the ice shield will be. So I have a few armor items stacked up. As you see, it hits them with the passive, the ice shield goes around them, and any champion, even if they weren't hit by the ability, if they're in that little blue area, they will be slowed down. Next item is the Protector's Vow. You get 400 max health, 40 armor, 10 ability haste, 5% heal and shield power. Passive Protector, raise your guard when next to an allied champion. If you or the ally takes damage, both you receive a 125 plus 30% bonus health shield for 1.5 seconds. Definitely a very strong and undervalued, underutilized item. Next item we have is the Winter's Approach. It is the defensive version of the Manu Mune and the Archangel Staff. Get 350 max health, 500 max mana, 15 max ability haste, grant bonus health equal to 8% of max mana, refends all mana spent. Mana charge, increase max mana by 12 every attack when mana is spent or when taking damage from champions, epic monsters or towers, caps at 700. Then you'll transform into the Thimble Winter, same as the other items transform. This will add an additional passive called Frozen Colossus. Every time you immobilize or slow an enemy champion, you're going to consume 3% of your maximum mana and grant a shield for 3 seconds, absorbing 90 to 180 plus 4.5% current mana. Increased by 80% if there's more than one enemy champion nearby. Definitely another underutilized item that's very strong. Frozen Heart, plus 80 armor, plus 200 max mana, plus 25 ability haste. Winter's Caress, basic attacks and magic damage caused by you or inflicted upon you will apply stacks of chill to the enemy champion for 3 seconds. Each stack of chill slows enemy attack speed by 9%, up to a maximum of 4 stacks or 36% attack speed reduction. Each individual ability has a 3-second cooldown on applying chill stacks. So if you have champions that have lots of attack speed, good item to go against them. Force of Nature, 350 max health, plus 55 magic resistance, 5 move speed. Absorb, taking ability damage from enemy champions grants 1 stack of Steadfast for 7 seconds, with a maximum of 4 stacks. Dealing damage to an enemy champion will refresh the duration of the stacks. At maximum stacks, gain 10% movement speed and reduce all incoming magic damage by 25%. Very good item to buy if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. Next item, Dawn Shroud. Get plus 250 max health, plus 50 armor, plus 30 magic resistance. If you are within 400 units of an enemy champion and you immobilize a champion or you are mobilized, it will reveal all nearby enemy champions for 3 seconds and deal 80 plus 5% bonus health as magic damage. So a nice item to build as someone who does a lot of crowd control, CC, stuns, as it gives you bonus damage, as well it gives you, it's one of the few items in the game that gives you both armor and magic resistance. Got Amarant's Twin Guard, gives you 60 armor plus 60 magic resistance. The Endurance passive, gain 1 stack of endurance every 1 second while in combat with enemy champions with a maximum of 5 stacks. At maximum stacks, you're going to gain 20% size, 20% tenacity, and increase your total armor and magic resistance by 30% until you leave combat. Very strong item. Then we have Mantle of the 12th Hour, 200 max health, 40 armor, 40 magic resistance, and then it will give you that lifeline ability that I've shown you a couple times already. This one scales with bonus health. Nice item for sure. Next we have Searing Crown. This will give you 300 max health, plus 50 armor, The passive Fiery Touch, after dealing damage with an attack or ability, burn target for 3 seconds, dealing 1.4% of the target's maximum health as magic damage per second. Lowered to 50% to range users. This will deal 150% damage to minions and monsters and a maximum of 125 damage to monsters. So this actually does more damage than it seems. Read it again. It'll say after dealing damage with an attack ability, it burns them for 3 seconds, dealing 1.4% of target's maximum health per second. So you do 3 times 1.4%. That's really 4.2%. So when you use this ability, it's going to lower someone's maximum health by 4.2%, which is pretty big. Next item, this is one of the most popular tank items you can build, the Heart Steel. You usually want to buy it first so you can get it stacking as soon as possible. You get 700 max health, 150 health regen, 20 ability haste. The passive Colossal Consumption while within 700 units of an enemy champion. Charges for 2.5 seconds before dealing a huge strike against the enemy champion. This charge attack deals bonus physical damage equal to 140 plus 3.5% of your maximum health and grants a maximum health back equal to 15% of damage dealt. This charge lasts for 20 seconds per each target. So once you proc the charge, you gotta wait 20 seconds to use it on the same champion. But if you're in a group of enemy champions, you can proc it on each of them consecutively. So this will help you build up a lot of HP, but also give you some good amount of damage, single target damage. Titanic Hydra, we went over this item in the attack damage area already. Zeke's Convergence, another one of my favorite items that isn't built very often. It'll give you 350 max health, 40 armor, 150 max mana, 15 ability haste. Then the Harbinger passive, casting your ultimate surrounds you with a blizzard for 10 seconds. The blizzard deals a maximum of 480 to 900 damage, slowing nearby enemies by 25%, leaving a trail behind you. Allied champions on the trail will gain 55 bonus movement speed for 1 second. Only a 30-second cooldown. So anytime you use your ultimate ability, you will be surrounded with a blizzard that will do a good amount of damage. Anywhere from 48 to 90 damage per second. Definitely very nice item to have. Next, we'll go with the Chionic Rukern. 350 max health, 100 health regen, plus 75 magic resistance. After not taking magic damage for 12 seconds, you're going to gain a magic shield that absorbs damage equals to 70 to 180 plus 10% maximum health. As you see at this purple the purple bar in my health bar, that's a magic damage shield. So any kind of magic damage I take will get absorbed by that shield. It will not block physical damage, just magic damage. Next item we have is the Yordle Trap. This is a niche item for a few champions, but if you can build it well, it can definitely be very strong. 350 max health, 40 armor, 15 ability haste. You have the Catcher passive. After using abilities that apply crowd control that displace the enemy, you're going to gain 30% movement speed for 3 seconds and mark the target, reducing their armor and magic resistance by 5 to 12 for 5 seconds. If the target dies while they are marked, their death grants a bonus gold of 200 to 300 for your nearby allies. So you guys will share 200 to 300 gold between 2, 3, 4, or 5 people, depending how many people you have around you. This gold cannot be obtained more than once every 10 seconds. So once you use this item, after 10 more seconds, you can use it again to gain gold. But you can constantly apply that armor and magic resist debuff and get the movement speed for yourself. Very strong item. Definitely fun to buy certain situations. Then we got the support build items. Morello Namicon we went over in the magic area just to apply grievous wounds. Ardent Sensor. This will give you 250 max health, 35 ability power, 20 ability haste. It'll add 8% heal and shield power. So if you do healing and shielding, it'll make your healing and shielding 8% stronger. 5 movement speed, and then the passive, when you heal or shield an allied champion other than yourself, they will gain 15 to 40% attack speed, and their attacks will do an additional 20 to 40 bonus magic damage for 6 seconds. Definitely very strong as a support who needs to buff some physical damage type champions or your ADC. Next, we got Harmonic Echo, 100 max health, 55 ability power, 300 mana, 10 haste, 8% heal shield power. Moving and casting abilities build Harmony. At 100 Harmony, your next healing or shielding ability cast on an ally restores health equal to 150 plus 15% of your ability power. If the target's health is below 30%, the healing potency is increased to 150%. Next, we have Staff of Flowing Waters, 100 max health, 45 ability power, 350 mana, 10 haste, 8 heal and shield power. Rapids. Healing or shielding an ally grants you both 10 ability haste and 20 to 40 ability power based on target's level. Next, we have Imperial Mandate, 200 max health, 40 ability power, 20 haste. Abilities that slow or immobilize a champion deal 47 to 75 bonus magic damage and mark the target for 4 seconds. Allied champions damage detonates the mark, dealing an additional 150 magic damage based on allies' level, and also granting you both 20% movement speed. So if you mark a champion, so if you slow them or immobilize them, you'll do 75 damage, but then it'll be marked. If your ally attacks them while marked, it'll do an additional 100 to 150 magic damage. So this alone can do almost 200 magic damage additionally if you slow or CC somebody. Very strong item and it's cheap. Good support item. We went over Protector's Vow already in the defensive section. We went over this as well. Went over Frozen Heart already. Went over Dawn Shroud already. And we have gone over all these support items already. And last but not least, let's go over the different types of trinkets we have. First, we're going to have the Warding Totem. This places an invisible ward that grants vision of its surroundings for 90 seconds. So as you see, I placed this ward here. Now I can see in this area of the map. If I did not, I would not be able to see what's going on over here. So this Warding Totem is going to grant vision. Next, we have a Control Ward, aka a Pink Ward. This will place a visible ward that grants vision and reveals nearby wards, traps, and camouflage champions. So placing this item in, say, a bush or something like that is very good. If you have an enemy champion that is invisible, it will spot them out. If you have enemy wards in the area, it will also spot them out. So you place something like that usually in a bush. And as you see, we got vision inside the bush and around the area. And last but not least, we have this sweeping lens. This will scan the area around you. It will reveal hidden enemies as well as traps and allow you to see invisible wards. Also, it will reveal camouflage as well. So you click that item, it'll surround you with a red trinket like this. If you come across any hidden wards, hidden champions, it will show them on the map. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all that are here still to the end. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like this instructional video, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.